Yo, 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 we back in this thing. What's good, Dre?
Hey, what's up, Brown? Just Barbershop, man. How you doing?
Chillin', chillin', like a villain with no ceiling.
Oh, no, still you had it on. I like that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's growth.
How's the week been?
It's been a week. It's been a week. I celebrate that I understand my work and what I get to do, and it's exciting, trying to push for change and development and growth. But it's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I hear that. I hear that.
Trying to change hearts and minds.
Mm. Mm. Absolutely. It's funny. Somebody had asked me earlier this week. They was like, "How's your summer been?" I said, "It's been." which like the one question we should not ask students when they get back, unless we're going to like actually unpack it and address it,
Wow.
is how was your summer? That's the one thing we should not do.
I agree. Thank you for reminding me and pointing that out. Because kids are just like,
Mm-hmm.
horrible.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm. And there's different levels of trauma and experiences, etc. And of course there are people who are well-intentioned and they really want to know how things were, and maybe that's even a lead up to, how did you process or how are you processing the things that happened this summer? But there has to be better language for that.
What I want to know the question you asked. If that's proprietary, you can tell me offline. But do you have a question that's something in place of that?
I do.
I'll give you a work away.
I do. I definitely do. And I'll give it to you offline. I definitely do. Because brother, that's what we do. That's what we do. We build. We build and we build each other up.
See that circle behind me? I'm inside it, y'all.
Yes, sir. I got some stuff because I was going to do it with my new faculty and staff, or my new employees rather. I was going to do it that way, but we didn't have enough time to do some stuff. But I was going to ask some folks to think about some questions. And I think it's the same way you could do it with some students, but I'll give that to you offline. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right, brother. What you rocking over there? I've seen this before. I think I know what it is.
Negro Sports League Museum in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm. Listen, post-Rona, I don't care when you're going. I'm going to make time and space to go with you. I need to go on your tours. I need to get down south to the places I have not been. I just need to, brother.
When I put the shirt on, it's actually the Negro Southern League Museum. When I put it on, I was thinking about how much I miss those spaces. And it's because it's kind of thing like I'm back again.
Mm-hmm.
You take it for granted, like, oh, this is really special. I'm tired. I've been working hard, blah blah blah. And now I'm all like, I want to go back. I want to go back to Atlanta. I want to go back to Birmingham, Montgomery, Selma, all the places. Jackson, Mississippi. Like, how often would you get to Jackson, Mississippi? If you're not really got people down there that have a reason. Love Jackson.
Absolutely.
Like, I know my way. I can drive. I know my way around. You know how you can drive and not have to really worry about the map?
Mm-hmm.
Like that for me down there. But yeah.
Okay. The only reason why I'm familiar with Jackson, Mississippi, for a number of reasons, you have historically black colleges and universities, but also a man and I watched Bring It, which was about the dancing dolls, the dancing group from Jackson, Mississippi. So I used to watch that on Lifetime, I think it was. Yeah. Yeah, so that's why I was like familiar with like Jackson, Mississippi.
Those kids go hard.
Oh my goodness. You kidding me? I'm like, I can't make it to 5 minutes of that practice.
Right.
I'll be on the floor. I'm like, I'm done.
I want to be the water person.
You need water?
How about you? What you got on today? Do it for the
culture. Do it for the culture, Back in the building, do it for the culture. Yeah. You know what it is. Do it for the culture.
How about you? What you got? What you sipping today? What's on tap?
Barrel proof. Still there, So again, you already know what it is.
I see you. Oh.
You already know. You know what happened. You already know. How about you, good brother?
Take it slow and low.
Hey.
Slow and low. I just realized I was hoping to get some Maker's Mark, but Maker's Mark is out.
Oh.
To replace that. Do you know what Maker's Mark, what it means? What actually Maker's Mark and the Maker's Mark is?
I do not, sir.
Oh, you know, you get some white friends to tell you this stuff. So when people would build like ships or houses back in the day, and like if you go to these unpainted log cabin or unpainted boats that are like stained or whatever, in the wood, the oil from the fingers that are holding, like natural human oil, comes through in the wood decades later. So it's like fingerprints on the wood, and those are the Maker's Mark. Right?
The more you know. Well, thank you, good brother.
The mark of the maker. And you can go look at next time you probably see it in your school. Your school is old as Philadelphia. Find some like old wood that's not too painted and too stained, and look for little like fingerprints. And they'll probably be smaller because they were smaller people then. But it is faint. You can't like see like fingerprint the things are the ridges and stuff, but you could tell like it was a hand gripping wood.
Okay.
Brilliant, right?
I'm gonna be walking through the halls looking at everybody, brother, what you doing? Excuse me, looking at chairs before a faculty meeting.
Exactly. Trying to find the Maker's Mark. Now,
I appreciate that. Thank you. That's a nugget of wisdom I did not know.
I just learned it last week.
All right.
I mean, I've been sipping it for a while, but I ain't.
That's a different type of mark, brother. That's a different type. It makes his mark, all right. I know that's right. I know that's right. What you want to toast to, brother?
I want to toast to the amount of knowledge we can impair and impart upon each other.
Oh, yes.
That's a beautiful.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Love it. Slow and low, baby.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. I gotta sip this slow. Ooh.
What's on your mind, brother?
So, you know, wearing my shirt, do it for the culture. And as I've been talking about, and I've actually shared this, and I'm going to share this even more so with folks, but I've already shared this with my place of employment. I've already shared this with folks that this summer has been my Black sabbatical. Let folks know. Going to dig through it a little bit more so because I'm using it as a teaching tool and a framework to allow folks to understand what informs my practice and my work for a number of different reasons, particularly off of this hot Rona summer, right? So I've been doing a number of different things, you know, been thinking about a number of different things as well. And it's always about the culture. I'm always thinking about the culture. So in 2020, good brother, as we hope to enter 2021, what are some of the things that we should be doing for the culture? What are some of the things that you think might be missing, or some of the things that we can be doing better for the culture, if you will?
You know, the first thing that comes to mind, it's not really for the culture. I was taking the whole notion of locking arms. Like we gotta lock arms and get in place, because the whole like, well, that's not how I say it. That's not how I do it. That's not how I fry my chicken. That's not how I bake my biscuits. That's not how I blah, blah, blah. That's cool. Great. Bring your basket of biscuits and chicken and your pot of greens to the party. But let's all come to the party and have one big feast and gathering so we can meet, plan, and plot. Like, I really think we have to put our differences aside. And I thought of it because I was in this whole discussion, you know, I followed the DNC and DNC convention stuff last week. And they were talking to Kamala Harris's stepdaughters, and they called her Mamala. And I was like, oh, Mamala. Like I heard, I was like, oh, that's so dope. That's so good. That's so good. And one of my Colombian brothers was like, in Spanish, Mamala, M-A-M-A-L-A, is not something you want to call somebody. It's kind of it has a dirty sexual innuendo. And I was like, what? Jewish brothers and sisters were like, oh no, that's a That's a Yiddish term. Wamala, wamala. People use it all the time. And they were going at each other. And I was like, yo, let's stop and lock arms and celebrate that we're learning different languages, learning different ways. As opposed to being like, oh, you don't see me because I'm invisible. Like deuces went up. And I think that if there's a way to bring those deuces down, we could get much further. So that's one thing. I think when I go right to us in the culture, I'm thinking about Black people. I think about the different ways we go about stuff. Well, I don't do that. You know, I don't eat her greens. Great, don't eat her greens, but come to the meeting because we need you here.
Yes.
You don't have to eat her greens, but don't dismiss the whole work in the process because you don't eat greens the way they make greens.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Come, we need you at the meeting. We need you in the meeting house.
Yes.
Start it. To overcome and face and challenge all that is in our faces, in our places. And then I also think we need to practice, self-love and self-care. I heard a really great line. I'm gonna try and get it right. One of my he's white dude, Paul Gorski, one of my like activist educational history heroes. I'm trying to get it right. He was saying, there's a talk of this like kind and loveness. We need to approach the fight for anti-racism with kindness and loveness. And he was like, we need to put kindness and loveness into the anti-racist movement. Not approach it with that, but restructure. And I was like, take it apart and rewrap it, And so the thought is, when I come to the self-care moment, this stuff can be really, and I know it myself, when I sit and trying to work and trying to convince people, and I'm sitting here like repeating again and again, 1 + 1 is 2. 1 + 1 is 2. 1 + 1 is 2. Like, do you mean that 5 - 3 is 2? That's true, but what I'm talking about today is that 1 + 1 is 2. And this is why it needs to happen. You brought me in because you were fighting about this exact notion. It's proven, it's clear, it's history. Let's move past that. What's the work going to do? So in all that, I think for the culture, us supporting one another, loving each other, taking care of each other, and holding each other up in the face of all this drama and problems is real. Like, it's wonderful to have all those clever, brilliant Breonna Taylor lines and memes. Wonderful. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's important. But what you doing for Miss Jackson down the street? Sitting in the house by herself. I mean, they have all the food that she needs, but she don't feel like saying it. What you doing for Uncle John that just is by himself, or in something that's not good? How are we taking care of each other in this moment? Like, it's real. It's real. We're not at the end of all this economic divide and restructuring. Like, it's great that people saying, yo, we gotta be anti-racist. Here's my statement. So what's attached to that statement? What's the action behind that statement plan you put out that says you were not gonna do this? There's a store down the street from my house. And this store, I've walked past this place constantly. It's a bar, a restaurant. And not, you never seen any people call up in there. They get like, I've seen the owners trying like, oh, hi, trying to be friendly. Deadness. And I like, that could be the New York thing, but it's like, it feels like something else. They got a big old, they put one of those like outdoor seating things, they got a big old Black Lives Matter sign on it. And I'm like, you don't practice that. I've been seeing you in your face for 2 years straight, and my life has not mattered to you, period. Like, that moment of Black Lives Matter has to be taken seriously. This is not a banner. This is not just a banner. And I to bring it back into the culture, in the face of all of that, how are we showing up for each other? How are we looking out for each other? How are we helping each other? Showing all the secrets and the ways and the means,
Brother, you just kicked so much knowledge in like a span of 3 minutes. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Pay this, brother. please, because you just kicked so many gems, so many nuggets of wisdom in such a short period of time that if you just did a 3-minute keynote, folks have homework for about 3 weeks. So my brother, hats off to you. I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. And I think there's a lot of things that resonated with me. One, and this is what I've been saying for a while, since back when I was working in the missions and thinking about what diversity, equity, inclusion looks like on a college campus, right? And it's really about arriving at the moment of how can we learn to disagree without being disagreeable. So going back to that point about Mamala, like, how do we learn to disagree without being disagreeable? How do we realize in the Quaker space, as we say, that multiple truths can exist at the same time? Mm-hmm. How do we make space for this continuing revelation to understand that, guess what? My knowledge is incomplete at best. At best. If we think about this Zoom square or rectangle, whatever you want to call it, let's just say that's the knowledge in the world. How much knowledge do we have? And how much do we not have? How much do we not know? What overlaps? And one of the things that I do in my work, I want to share with you too offline. I have a framework of something that I do, and it's called Definitions by Design. And design with a capital D, E, and I. And it's really about framing and positioning all these words that we throw around that become trendy and buzzwords, and calibrate ourselves to a certain space where we have agreements. And not norms, agreements. I like agreements because what are we normalizing? What censor? We can't just replace something and say, now this is the new norm. We need to have agreements, because agreements is really reflective of the people who are in that space agreeing upon something. That's really cooperative and working together. So I think that when I'm thinking about the culture, that whole piece about love is super important. In fact, I'm going to talk about that really as a framework and a grounding theory for this work that we need to do, particularly when it comes to anti-racism, et cetera. Because like I said, my Black sabbatical, that was all from love, love of self, love of knowledge of self, and love of others, starting at the chocolate side of town, like we say, like Cornel West says, but that reverberating out to other people. If I can't love myself or don't love myself, I can't love and don't love other people. If I don't know about myself and know about my people, then I can't possibly begin to even learn, let alone know about others. So it starts there. And it, again, charity, another word for charity is love. It begins at home. That is my belief. And then it reverberates elsewhere. If you're not taking care of your household, how can you possibly take care of something that's a little bit less connected to you? Someone else's household, someone else's child. How can you do that? So I'm thinking about all these things. It reminds me of an essay that I read recently from Bell Hooks, love as the practice of freedom. And what does that ethic of love really mean? So I think you really hit the nail on the head when you said we really need to be thinking about love. So what do we need to do for the culture? Teach each other how to love again. What does love mean? And realize that love is a choice and a commitment. And if we don't do, one, choosing to love each other and ourselves daily, committing to love ourselves and others daily, then this is why we have these issues. And sometimes, because we all have different walks of life, lived experiences, backgrounds, etc., we can't necessarily get on the same page about what the definition of racism is. Some folks might think it's this, that, and the third, but we could probably get a better, perspective about what love is, right? And it's like, okay, now I can understand what love is, because that's something that's not as fleeting of a concept for me, because I've experienced it or I know someone who's experienced it. So I think if we start there, it continues in tradition of Dr. King. And something I've been calling for, and something that I've presented to faculty and staff and other people about, is a call for radical love and transformation. We need that. And that's the only way forward. And there's so many other pieces that come with that. But brother, yes, love, I'm with you. That's what we need for the culture.
Yeah, you just subscribe. I don't know if you know it, you just borrow that phrase and use it. And this is him, Faneuil Hammer, Ida B. Wells, Byron Rustin, the beloved community.
Yes.
How do we get there? How do we get there? Because we're not there. We're not there. and it's work to get there. I believe that that is a chance for us to really be in a much better, beautiful space. But it's going to take work.
Yes, sir.
It's going to take work. And, you know, let's get to it. Come on, y'all.
Mm.
Get to it. Let's roll our sleeves up and take it. And I think also there is a need to acknowledge the pain and the hurt. Because if you don't acknowledge that, that's like a cancer. It will spread.
Mm-hmm.
Zap that out. I really think love is one of the cures for that.
Mm.
You need to allow people the chance to verbalize and talk about the harm. And then at the same time, this is something I use in my presentation, my language. We have to make sure people that express that harm don't weaponize that trauma. First time I heard that, I probably mentioned before, first time I heard it, I was like, is my work rooted in weaponizing my trauma? I had to stop and think. I took my own little black sabbatical. It wasn't the summer. I had to keep working, but I was like, let me explore that. Because that, you know, you just hear something and it's like, oof.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, let me go sit down for a minute. That's one of my favorite phrases in like a Baptist church. You know, when somebody's been sat down, they get out of line. It's like, oh, Deacon Souls has been sat down. I mean, the first time I heard it, I was like, what's, I was looking like, is he sitting down? Like, what does that mean? And the old lady is like, he just needs some time to think about what he's going to do or who he is. That was all the explanation I got from anybody. There was no discussion of protocols and policies, how much time. Well, when are they off? We'll know when it's over. I was like, that's some beautiful community development, community action, community growth and care. Like sometimes you need to sit down. You need to sit down and sit with it. And I think your black sabbatical is not so much that, but because that sit down also feels like it's a punitive. But I do highly respect the like taking a step back and spending time to think about, observe, and develop, and become better at who we are. It's a constant journey. It's beautiful.
And the fact that you said that, it just reminds me of, I mean, that's the moment that we're in right now. I mean, we've been sat down as a people. We've been sat down as a country. We've been sat down as a globe. And Deacon America needs to get their act together.
They'd be standing up. They'd be like, nope. No, Deacon America, go sit back down. Don't open that up. Don't, no. Deacon America, no. We're not ready. We'll know when it's time, Deacon America. Deacon America needs some help. He needs prayer. Because Mother Earth done had it with Deacon.
Listen, yes. You know how the church mothers are. Mother Earth done had it. You absolutely right. It's been about one too many Sundays, and Deacon America's been cutting up. Sit down.
Exactly. She said it before. You got one more time. One more time. And Deacon America's like, word? And took it. And Mother Earth was like, all right. Bad. Boom. Good luck. We'll figure it out. I'm gonna go chill and cool off. It's hot. Yeah, I think that question about doing for the culture is a real deep one, and it's a growing, shrinking conversation because it's not completely solid. Like, do these 10 things. They're probably there, but there's so much more. And our culture is a changing, shifting entity, a community. And it's often hard to define. Go ask 3 people in the street. Don't get too close and keep your mask on. Don't shake their hands either. But go ask them what Black culture is. You will get 3 very distinct. You probably get some overlays, but you get 3 distinct views and visions. Yeah. Yeah, man. Beautiful journey, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely, absolutely. But I think the toast is to Mother Earth sitting down Deacon America, and for us to understand that what we need most right now for the culture and for everyone is love. Love, 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 and active love. Can't just talk about it. We got to be about it.
You got to be it.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's good.
Mm.
Dear America, we love you. Go figure it out. Mm. Wow, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. These little short and sweet. You give me all this stuff to think about.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
like.
It's a lot. It's a lot to take. To really think about, digest, sit down with it. Come back to it.
I like it.
Yes, sir. Well, that's how we do it at the Brown Juice Barbershop.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes,
Love
sir.
it.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Oh, right back at you, man. Always. It's fantastic.
Yes, sir. Well, till next time.
Yes, I appreciate you.
Oh, appreciate you too, good brother.
Have a good one.
All right. Take care. And to everybody else, peace.
On the Brown Juice Barbershop.